Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Okay, I'm nervous right now. This is so funny. We're back, baby. We're back. Hi, what's up? What is going on? I'm so happy and so proud of myself for getting back in the recording chair right now. I cannot even tell you the amount of times that I've tried to talk myself out of it, that I don't have the right window of time, that I need to get things organized, that I need to have this plan. And you know, all those things, all those reasons, all the excuses that come up in our mind about doing the things that we really do actually want to do, the things that we actually like and that are good for us and that are healthy choices and things that light us up and are life-giving, that sometimes we have these weird excuses and reasons why we can't, or why we shouldn't, or why we're waiting for the perfect time. And this is a prime example of that. So hi, this is me being human, sharing what's really on my heart. And that's one of those things that I'm just noticing right now as I'm feeling a little rusty, coming back from maternity leave and having so much life happening in such a juicy way, in such a good way. Life just feels so full now. So I feel like this episode is going to be about catching you guys up, because last time we left off, last season, I was about to have a baby, and now I'm a mom of 3 and getting back into my work groove and finding my way. And it's very slow and it's very gentle. I think I've learned a lot. Being this is my 3rd time through, I have learned a lot about how to make this come back into my life in a much more present way. I have been very present and involved with my family, especially over the last 4, 5, maybe 6 months. And the biggest lesson I've learned is to come back slow, adding one thing at a time. And as soon as that's feeling steady, like, okay, I feel all right, my energy's feeling good, my sleep's feeling good, we can add on one more thing. All that to say, welcome back. I'm so excited to be here again. And thank you for bearing with me as I get my footing and shake off the cobwebs as to how we do this again. And just being patient with this postpartum brain I've got going on. So let's catch up a little. I am now a mom of 3. I have a beautiful baby girl. She is a freaking angel. She is an angel. If anyone out there has ever been through an extremely challenging pregnancy, or you know someone who's had hyperemesis during pregnancy, I really believe there's something about these babies that come out that they are just angels. They are magic. They are so happy and content, and things just feel so easy on that front. Maybe it's because it's my 3rd, but I don't think so. I think it's her. And it's been such a joy and delight and such a gift that I have been given, truly, of being able to take a little bit extra time to integrate this huge life season. I know that's not always possible for everyone, and there's so many different life setups and just stages of life. But for me right now, I have this feeling of overwhelming peace and happiness and presence that I'm focusing on in my life and really trying to bring to, and keeping back the voices that used to haunt me after my 1st and 2nd kids were born of, okay, you're not back yet. You're not doing enough. You got to get back into work. It's got to look the same. When am I going to get back to my quote unquote normal? And I think now I just have so much more grace with myself and with my work and with the timing of things more specifically. I know that I'm going to get back to where I was and probably go beyond that. And I'm ready for the next level, and I'm ready to expand and grow and be ready for the next things that are available for me. I know that with each kid comes that beautiful expansion and that ability that grows your capacity to hold more of the important things, for sure. I'm excited for that, but it's also been this sense of going gentle and slow. And I know that I'll get there. There's not a time pressure. There's not external sorts of pressure that I'm listening to. And sometimes the worst forms of pressure are the ones that we come up with in our own heads. So I just feel this deep sense of peace, I think, because of that. And this knowledge is looking back on my experience with my last two kids, that it really takes me about 18 months to feel back in my quote unquote normal groove, back in the groove where my body feels a little bit normal, and back to myself after I'm done nursing, back to feeling strong and like gaining muscle again, back to my brain being back on. And I think there's a biological reason for that, truly. And so I think trusting that process of know that will come. I'm not there yet. Let's enjoy exactly where I am right now and really take this in. This is our last baby, and let's be in the pure enjoyment of this. And then also, I think it gives us a beautiful chance, any transition of life, whether it's positive or feels more negative, any time that we are changing and growing is also a great time to just reflect. Where am I at? What am I spending my time on right now? How's my energy? What am I needing to pour into myself a little bit more? Am I needing to pour into others right now? Just taking a look at the lay of the land and looking from a higher level view at your life of how's it going? How am I feeling? What do I need? What does my life need right now? Is there any more time or attention or love I need to be pouring into physically my body right now? The food I'm eating, the water I'm drinking, and taking care of my health on those physical levels. Is it something with my mental health and my mentality and my thoughts, and the limiting fears are just coming roaring up, and all these like old stories that we tell ourselves and the limiting beliefs? Is it the mental mindset work that needs to be poured into right now? Or is it the emotional stuff? You know, your nervous system has been storing and holding so many different things, and it needs to be released or worked through, or what's emotionally going on in my life. So am I doing that in a more regulated way where emotions can come and go pretty easily? I'm not storing, I'm not numbing, I'm not stuffing down. So I always think there's something, especially in times of transition, that there's always one of those areas that needs a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra intention. And sometimes it's all of those things at once with a really big change, a baby, growing a family. So I just wanted to share some of those things today. What is going on mentally, physically, emotionally? What have been the things that have also been going on outside of our control, and things that have impacted our family, things around motherhood that I'm finding, things just with work, especially, that have changed. So I've just been in this season of reflecting and taking some inventory of like, what's going on? How am I feeling? I think that living an intentional life oftentimes requires those little pauses, and asking really good questions to yourself and giving yourself honest answers, not just answering in the way that you think you should, but what's deeply true down like to the core, that you have that intuition around. One of the biggest changes as I'm coming back to the outside world, coming back into work, is that I now feel so differently. I've had this experience of having almost an entire year of being out and not feeling good and not feeling myself and being bedridden, and a lot of time to reflect on things like my work, my family, and things like, am I spending the time how I want it to be spent right now in the constraints of, normal life, of the things that I have to do, and then the things that I want to do, are they fitting into some of those pockets of time? So right now for me, especially with work, I've been so about simplifying. And I feel like that comes every year in some capacity. More simple. Keep finding what are the things that are so joyful? What are the things that are life-giving? What are the things that help people the most? And I have been in this massive phase of let's just get rid of everything else. My time when I work, I want it to feel like this is my creative art and my joy and my creative outlet really in the world of helping people and helping them simplify, and talking about building a more intentional life and building a healthier life, working on mindset, working on energetics, working on our nervous system at the same time as we're working on things like real food and all of the basic foundational things that need to be in place in order for us to really thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. So right now, what that's looking like is everything that's not a hell yes is out right now. My work hours are, I would say, smaller than they ever have been. And that's how I'm wanting it to be right now. But that when I am working, I'm working on stuff that really lights me up. and helps other people and makes an impact and really makes a difference. And I have let go of so many things that I was doing that I think I was doing just because I've always done it that way, or I was doing it because that's what you're quote unquote supposed to do. That's the way you're supposed to do it. That's the structure, the foundation of every online business needs to look this way. And you need to grow your email list, and you need to have this growth on Instagram, and you need to have all these different tech things on the back end. And I have just been, I don't know what it is, maybe just bringing a third baby in, but I don't care about so much of that. I want to do work that matters and that I love. And there's so many things that I don't actually care about anymore that maybe I did at one point, but now I just want to make the most of the time that I have. And that shift in itself has set such a fire under me in such a beautiful way. I don't want to lose sight of what this is all about. And it really is easy to get distracted by all the new trends and the new techniques. And there's always a new tactic, and there's always something else to learn, and always new technology and all these things that at the end of the day, I've been in business for 13 years. So much change is going on. It could be easy to get sucked up into all of that. I want to go 13 more years, and I want to still love what I'm doing. So how can we bring back the focus to that? So what I've been loving is knowing that I'm a small group person and fully embracing that. Anything I can do in a small, intimate group, the magic is powerful. I love teaching in that format. I love getting to see people learn from each other. I love creating these really intentional spaces for women to go deep and talk about meaningful things and cut through the fluff and cut through all of the noise. Let's have some real talk here. Sometimes words that may be hard to hear, but really help in your growth. Sometimes it's learning to be more gentle with yourself. It's being able to do life in a group of women that all want to have more intentional lives. And at the end of the day, that's what matters the most to me. That's what's the most meaningful to me. So right now that's looking like the Insiders Club, which is that brand new group I have been piloting the last couple of months. And it is unreal. My heart feels so happy leading that group. These women who just get it. And they're so helpful to each other, and they're so encouraging and so honest, and they're so real. And this is what life is about. We all know about real food, and we're wanting to be healthy women and be able to pour into all the different areas of our lives that matter. And that looks a little different for every person. We range in age, don't all live in the same place, but have this core heart of gold and this want and this desire to keep growing in our lives and to keep getting better and keep trying and keep learning stuff that makes our day-to-day lives better. So that has been such a joy, getting to lead that and then figuring out, okay, where is this going to go from here? There's definitely something here. So that has been so much fun to be pouring my time and energy into something that feels so amazing right now. And then we're also getting ready to open up Simply Real Life, the Method, which is my group program we do every spring. I run it one time a year, live coaching with me every single week, take you through all of the foundations of setting up a more intentional and healthy life without the all or nothing, really working through not only the physical pieces of being healthy, but also the mental and emotional. And those two things take things to the next level. I love running that every year. I do it live. There's so much good energy. I can't wait. It's Simply Real Life season. It's the Method season, and I get so excited. So we're going to be doing a 5-day challenge coming up, depending when you're listening to this. That starts April 14th and is a great little glimpse into how do we take this chance of spring and this new sense of renewal and this sense of let's shed off all the blahs of winter. Let's remind ourselves the things that really do matter in our day. Let's remind ourselves the ways that we can be taking care of ourselves. It don't have to take tons of time, and they don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be about, extremes and going all out. It's so much more about these little tiny things that we do for ourselves every day that matter most, because those are the things that add up over time. Those change who you are being in your day. It changes your identity and your self-image of how you look at yourself, how you view yourself. I am a person who does this, who takes care of myself in this way, who shows up for myself, who makes it a priority to take care of my health mentally, physically, emotionally. We have some brand new challenges this year, kind of mixing it up. So if you've joined us before, come join us again. It's fun and it's free, and it's something that we do for the whole community leading up into the opening of Simply Real Life, the method, for those of you who want to take that deeper and feel ready. I know that so many of you, it takes you a year or two to think about doing that program. It's something that once you do, your life will never be the same. And so many alumni can attest to that. It's one of those huge game changers when it comes to knowing yourself more deeply and your health and understanding your body and what your body is saying to you and all the signals, what it needs. It's like just working on like the root of the tree. And once the roots are done, all of a sudden you're like in full bloom and everything's working together and it's just like big, beautiful results at the end. So I love that. It's a small group. It's intimate. This is the stuff that brings me so much life. And I know changes so many other people's lives in really big ways. So focusing on that, I love this time of year specifically for that. Things that I am not doing. No more weekly blog. No more weekly newsletter. I have made this shift into using email. For those of you who are on my email list, of no longer a weekly email, because I asked and I was taking surveys of like, what do you guys want? And so many of you said like, it doesn't matter if it's every week or every other week. Either is great. We love hearing from you. We love the favorites. We love what you're sharing. To every other week's great too. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. All of a sudden, this immediate weight that I didn't know I was carrying feels lifted. Now it feels so much more fun and I have so much more to share. And there's so much more life lived in between the cadence of the emails. And I've been really getting into nursing a lot. I'm on my phone a little bit more, but I don't love scrolling through Instagram. It's just not my thing. I create a lot on there and I feel that's my work land. But personal time, I've been loving reading my Kindle when I'm nursing at nighttime, and then also getting into Substack because I've just been curious. There's so many people that I love and admire that write on Substack, or it seems like the new thing. And I always like to keep my pulse on, all right, what is going on over here? Staying open to things, not begrudgingly, like not another thing. So getting curious about that. I'm like, oh, this is so fun and so different with this community of writers sharing their thoughts on life and motherhood and other things. For a while there, I was like, oh, do I need to start a Substack? And it was just a clear no. My energy, my capacity is not there right now for that. But I ask myself questions like that all the time. Is that a right fit? And then I listen for the answer. And I usually get very clear responses because I feel like I'm very in tune with myself at this point. That's taken decades to get there. But I do feel very in tune to know that's not where it's at right now. I love being a consumer of it. Love reading it at my own time. I don't have the drive and the capacity right now to be doing that or adding one more thing to my plate. I'm more in the mode of like simplifying and removing things from my proverbial plate. But I really like the style of it. I like being able to read people's thoughts on motherhood or what's going on in their week or what's going on, in different topics around health or things that they think. So now it's a beautiful combination of all the things and it feels great on my end. And it feels like it's bringing the joy back into writing my email and being able to connect with you all as a community, but also doing it in a way that feels very practical and like doable in this stage right now in this season of life. And so I love that for myself because it's finding the area of gray between all or nothing. All or nothing would be, well, I have to do it full out. I have to send it every week. If not, I'm doing a bad job. I'm failing. I'm letting people down. I'm like, no. That is not the answer. That's not how I roll because I know that getting trapped in that all or nothing mentality, which is something I talk about all the time, the through line of almost every program I run, has that in it of how can we stop being so perfectionistic and so hard on ourselves and so extreme because it really stops us from doing anything good, anything helpful, anything that we do like, because we get so caught up and it needs to look a certain way or has to take a certain amount of time or needs to be like this in order for it to count. And don't you feel like we do that sometimes when we're working out? Sometimes when we're doing the things that we know are good for us, we won't do it unless it can be perfect. And so I like to find little ways that I can slay that mentality all the time. So this is a prime example of that. What is the in-between there? What's a different option? And to me, that feels like the third option, taking all of the good, all of the fun, all of the love and joy of it, but also combining it with what's actually going to work practically and with my capacity and with my energy where it stands right now. Not doing the blog anymore. After 12 years of writing a weekly blog, I was just starting to feel like back when I was sick and in bed, I feel like my business has somehow turned into this content machine where I'm running a media company where we produce a podcast every week, a email every week, a blog post every week, Instagram stories, Instagram posts. And that's so much. What the actual work that I do is coaching and teaching. The actual work I have is one-on-one clients and running things like the Insiders Club and running things like Simply Real Life, the Method. That's my work. Let's not get distracted here. So again, after checking with you all, like if it was something that everybody was reading and loving and anticipating and it helped so much, great. But when I asked, people are like, we don't really read blogs anymore. Let's see your emails, I read those. So sometimes I click to the blog, but I don't really sit and read blogs anymore like I used to. I listen to podcasts now. I'm on Substack now. So that again has also been great. Let's just save the blog for things like the fun clothing roundups and for resource posts that you want to refer back to. So that has also been so freeing. It doesn't have to stop completely, but let's use this in the right way with the right intention and the right time around it. And I've been loving that. Okay, another change just work-wise. Those of you who don't own a business or don't care about the insides of running a business, you can just forward through these parts. But something that I've also shifted my mentality on is Instagram itself. And I know these tech platforms are always going to be changing. And so not to get too stuck in ways, but for me right now, I just desire to be on there less. I think a lot of people do. I use it primarily only for work. I'm not really scrolling on there in my personal time. It doesn't really feed me or fuel me. I don't know. I just think of it as this is my work zone. It's a work land. But even in that context, I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to be posting a certain amount of times per week or making sure that every day I'm sharing something on Instagram stories. And the reality is, if my goal is to help people and to work with people in more intimate ways, me posting and putting so much pressure on every single day to be doing that doesn't necessarily align. If my goal was to grow my Instagram numbers, grow my following, grow my email list, then yeah, that looks like that, where you're constantly on and showing stuff. That's not, to me, an intentional life. I don't really want to be doing that anymore. It's not the best use of my time and energy. I love doing it when it feels good. So why don't I just do that? When it feels good and it feels really authentic and I want to share, or it feels like it's something helpful to other people or answering questions, I love that. Let's keep doing that. So I've taken the pressure off of myself that it needs to be a certain amount of days, or it needs to be every day, or it needs to look a certain way, and more of it, let my energy and the pure love of wanting to help or wanting to share it, let that be the thing. And then wanting to connect with my people. I have had this big transformation. It feels like I no longer care about things like my email list. I don't care about it. I'm 13 years in. I have an amazing community. I want to keep growing it great, but slowly and organically and authentically, and not out just chasing random numbers anymore at this stage. I want to build a more meaningful community around Simply Real Health, like actually help the people that are already there. And saying that out loud has given me the biggest breath of fresh air. I'm like, that is it for me right now. I just want to help. I want to make an impact in people's lives. And I'm letting go of so many of the external things, so much of the external and internal pressure of like, I need to do this. I have to do this at this point. And it just feels so good. And maybe I will change my mind on this and go through different seasons with this. But at this point, let's serve everyone who's here, because I have the most amazing community. I really do. I don't know if any of you have noticed this. The people who are in this community are so special. There's no cattiness. There's no judgment. There's not a lot of trolls. People aren't looking to make another person's day worse. They're not looking to criticize. It's such a positive place, which I think is the reflection of, I don't put up with any of the other stuff, so don't even try here. This is not the place. And I think that you will probably all have that sense this year of, let's just make this the best party and enjoy this community for what it is, because it's so rare when you look into other spaces and you see other comments. What we've got going on is pretty amazing. So I'm just going to keep doubling down on that and really encouraging other people. It doesn't have to look like that. You don't have to keep putting the pressure on yourself. You don't need to play by the rules. You can have a business that's beautiful and helpful and feels really good, without focusing on so much of those external things. And to me right now, that's really aligned with where I'm at in my life. If I'm going to be spending time away from my kids, away from my family, away from the things that bring me joy, I want it to also be an area of my life that feels very life-giving. And so that's where a lot of the change has come. And I will say this on the podcast, because you're listening to the podcast, that it's taken me a couple of weeks to just get it together and walk through all the voices of fear and reasons why not, and why it's not the perfect time, all the all or nothing voices. My thoughts with the podcast are, let's see how it goes. This is the beginning of the 3rd season. See how it feels. Take it for a test run. I loved recording the podcast. I think it's so fun, and I always want it to be something that's helpful for people. So if you love it and you're like, yes, we're back, will you let me know? That would be really helpful to know. Are people still listening to this? Is this still helpful? Is this something that you like? My goal is to commit to a 3rd season for sure, and then kind of reevaluate and see how things are going and what questions you have. And are there still things that we haven't covered, or have we covered a lot of the big things? And there's a full audio file basically of answering all these deep questions that tend to come up over and over again. So welcome to season 3. Let me know if you've got feedback or things you'd love. So anywho, let's talk a little bit about general life update, how things have been going. Aside from motherhood, adding another baby, we have had so many different funny life updates and transitions. And I think it's helpful to share because sometimes, again, in the world of Instagram, you think other people's lives are perfectly smooth all the time. And it's not. It's definitely not. For those of you who are my close core friends and family, you know that there's been so many transitions for us. Especially in the last 6-7 months since Rosie has been born. First of which being, we have a basement remodel that's still going on. That started, in September? So she was about a month old. We found black mold in our basement when we were trying to we had to install a new window downstairs. When they were installing it, they found black mold around the trim, which led them to look around the perimeter of the room. There's black mold everywhere in 2 areas of the basement. And we knew that we would eventually want to redo the basement. It's an old Seattle house. So yeah, we eventually want to do that. Kyle and I love projects. We're not afraid of home renovations and remodels. We've done a lot of them actually over the years, to always have a project going on. But this is a huge project. We had already moved out all of our stuff from our little tiny garage, because that was the initial project, was the garage, and then replacing a window in the basement turned into everything from our garage moved out, everything from our basement moved out, full-blown basement renovation happening because of the mold, and no garage. So basically no storage, with 3 young kids in the middle of winter, which you can imagine. It's hilarious and not hilarious. And we have most of our things and belongings in storage pod. And there have been so many things like baby items that I've needed that we didn't think back in September that we would still be here come spring. But here we are. We don't even have the high chair piece that we need. We don't even have all the baby toys that I kept and saved. It's so defeating if I let it defeat me, all the things that I saved just in case we did have a 3rd baby, of all the toys and the little indestructible books. They're all away. So it's a reminder. We really don't need that much stuff. It's going to be very worth doing. It's going to be a much more functional space for us and a great place that we can enjoy with our family. Our kids are still little. We will be using this basement heavily. It's also been this reminder of we don't need that much stuff. The things that you actually need are very few, and you can find other replacements for that or borrow from friends and get a little creative. And I'm actually really excited to open the storage pod and get rid of so much stuff that we probably don't need. We've lived without it for months. There have been 4 times where I have made Kyle go in there because we needed specific things like our Christmas decorations, suitcases when we travel. But for the most part, it's been living with less. And it's actually been sweet, I think, to be in a little bit of a smaller space. We have gotten creative with the kids for movie nights, and that usually was our TV area downstairs. So it has been hard not hosting people. I will say that. To have friends over usually means that their kids come too. And most of our friends have 3, sometimes 4 kids. And so it's a lot of kids. There's nowhere for the kids to go. And that part has been really hard. to not be able to have people over as easily or to host people, especially in the winter in Seattle. That has definitely been a thing. And, a lot of noise, a lot of dust, there's paint, there's fumes. I've had to get 2 air purifiers because I'm so aware of things like chemicals and toxins in the air, especially with a baby. So I can share some of my favorite finds with that, with air purifiers. But I'm really trying to work on my mentality of like, this is okay. Our bodies are strong. We do the best we can, and we keep the windows open when we can. And there's going to be noise. It's not going to be ideal nap times. There's just a lot of chaos, I think, going on at home. It has been since Rosie's been born in that sense, but we're better for it. It's fine. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. But sometimes I think in our own lives, we get sucked into this vortex of that it becomes such a big deal or such an inconvenience, or we focus on the really negative things versus it's fine. Everyone's healthy. We're happy. It looks a little different. We may not have every single thing that we needed. It wasn't the plan to go like this, especially of doing this at the time of having a newborn. But you know what? It's been just fine. And hopefully the next couple months it will wrap up just in time for summer. So what else? We have been doing a lot of travel and a lot of getting out in the winter. I wrote a huge email on this of like making winter my favorite winter yet. And it definitely was. We'd had plans. We did little weekend trips. We brought the kids to ski. We, just being actively involved in life, took a trip to the sun, took a trip to the snow, making fun things happen at home or with friends or neighbors. And it has made such a difference in fully embracing winter, of just the winteriness of winter. Internal time, more reading, more fires, more books, more hot chocolate, more cozy cooking, and fully embracing it instead of trying to resist it has helped so much. Oh my gosh, so much. But needless to say, lots of travel and time out of the house, because that has been dictated by all of the chaos going on in the basement, that it has been helpful to kind of escape that and have more going on outside of our house than just staying home all the time. So that's been amazing. It's been so helpful. We are on the go. We are pick up and go people. A lot of times people will be like, I can't believe you're traveling that much with 3 kids. Like, what's going on? I had my first solo trip with all 3, flying with them all 3. And like, it's great. I have this mentality. All right, I'm up for the challenge. That's how I usually approach most things in my life is, all right, let's see how this goes. How can I navigate this? It's not going to take me down. Let's see how it goes. I'm up for that challenge. So that has been fun. And just a reminder, we can do so much, even though we have 3, and we've got to roll with the punches a little bit more and be more flexible, which is hard for my naturally controlling tendencies. But I think, again, that's also part of having a third. If you're on the go more often, there's no perfect naps, you're just doing the best you can, and the babies are fine. They're great. They thrive, actually. The thirds, they're so used to all the chaos going on that they're normal. Something I have definitely found lately too is with having 3 that yes, my time and my solo time is less. And I think that's specifically so in this season because I'm choosing to breastfeed. And with that comes so much more time where you really are on the baby's schedule for the most part. And then you're fitting in everything else kind of around that. And I think just wisdom of, I've done this 2 times before, to know that it actually goes so quick and it's such a sweet time. In the beginning, it's a lot. It's all you're doing. But then I've moved into the stage of this is easy and she's more flexible. She can go an extra hour. It can be an hour shorter. It feels a little bit more flexible. But that being said, that yes, most of my time is structured around that. Even my work time is structured around that. And I think finding little pockets of time, I call them little sprinkles for myself, of sprinkles of what mom needs, sprinkles of things that give me life, that really fill my cup, that nourish me. And for the most part, I can tell you what they are very simply because there's not a lot of time for them. So I have to make the time really work. It's showering at night. There's something so magical that is my me time. I was laughing the other night because I said, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would think of a nighttime shower as the same as feeling as going to a spa, I would have laughed at you. But that's where we're at. That feels like spa level experience to me right now. And I love that for myself. Also, a lot of walks. That's something I can do with the kids as they're bike riding. It's something I can do with the baby. I love the little moments, glimpses I get when it's just me. That feels extra good. Honestly, things even like car rides, going to Pilates class, I do that twice a week. And it feels like here I am again in my own self, in my own body, just remembering the little glimpses of that, even a really good meal or scheduling time out with my girlfriends or having them come over after bedtime. These little sprinkles throughout my day and throughout the week or month, having things that I'm excited about, having things that really feed me. It's not complicated. They're not long. They're not these intensive things. They're very small, very short, very practical at this point, but how important that is. And I do put a lot of effort into making sure that those happen for myself, because I know that if I don't, I end up in a place where I just feel resentful and depleted, and just, it makes everything feel so much harder. So really prioritizing, like drinking enough water, moving my body, getting some fresh air. It's not perfect every day. As you know, if you're a mom, it's like you can't always plan and things don't go according to plan all the time, but that at least is always a thought in my mind of like, how can I feel myself? And doing so, sometimes it's in a way of what is going to be great for my kids and for me, like choosing activities that we both love or that we both can enjoy versus it's just me doing everything they want to do or they being forced into the things that I want to do. So I think that has been very, very helpful. Food, I'm just loving food. This is my food fixation phase again, after going for like 10 months, not being able to eat much and feeling so depleted and run down and nutrient deficient in so many ways, that this is my time. I am nursing. I'm so hungry. My body needs a lot to be nursing, like extra. And so enjoying that. I'm just enjoying eating good food, real food. I love that feeling of being hungry and eating something and then it's satisfying. It's delighting me right now. It's purely delighting me. And then I've also been having fun of cooking and how do we make this simple? How do we make this a win for everyone? Everyone gets what they need. It's the shortest amount of time, but the most impactful for the time. Like that's really the theme of my life right now. Like the shortest amount of time, but the most impact, the most that we can squeeze out of this. Let's do it. Let's talk about transitions, because that has been a huge part of what's going on in the last 6 months. We have done the transition from the bassinet into the crib. We've done a transition from the crib for my middle into the big girl bed. We've done the transition from not only into the big girl bed, but room sharing with her brother in bunk beds. We've done the transition of having a 3.5-year-old, which is its own thing in itself, going through the 3.5-year-old phase. Started doing sleep training with the baby, which I really have not had to do up until this point, until she was about 7 months old. And then we all got sick the second day of sleep training, and then we had to like fully start over. But now she's in her crib and the 2 older ones are in the bunk bed. Then we went through the dropping of the nap for the 3.5-year-old. I mean, there's so many funny things. You feel like you're getting your groove and then like, oh, okay. And so I think it's been this reminder to me, that's just the way it is right now. That is what life is with 3 kids. And it's something that I feel so thankful that I have a partner who's also can laugh and be like, this is no big deal in the long run. We're in this transition time. And sometimes that's like a 2 or 3 day thing. Sometimes it's a 2 or 3 week thing. Sometimes it's a 2 or 3 month thing. We're going to do the best that we can with what we've got going on. It just makes you get creative, try different things. Every child is different. What worked for the first is not going to work for the second. So trying to figure that out. We also have had a change in our childcare, which impacted my work schedule. There's about 2 months in there where I didn't have any help or childcare. Our amazing nanny that had been with us for almost 2 years, I'm just so thrilled for her and so happy. Like she's taking steps into her own career to be a doula and helping babies come into the world. Such an amazing fit, but also a big transition for our family, for our kids. Just she's part of our family. I've grown to love her. And that is a big thing. The kids feel that, we as the adults feel that. It's searching for that person who is part of your family. And so that's also been a transition that we have had. And now we're on the other side of it and slowly integrating. But, you know, it's like teaching someone new the whole routine and teaching them the different quirks of your kids, teaching them the craziness of my schedule of like I'm in and out and here and there, and it's all packed in small windows of time. It doesn't stress me out, but it's something new to learn and get to know and to fall into a rhythm of that, while also traveling a lot and having this basement remodel going on. also just trying to get our bearings with things. So all that to say, I think it's such a normal part of life, especially with kids, that we sometimes have this expectation that once we get to the other side of this, then it's going to be easy. And there will be seasons that feel really smooth and that there's not a lot of change and not a lot going on. And then there's also seasons where it feels like there's 18 things at once. And both of which are normal. And I think being able to regulate your nervous system to that and knowing, okay, how do you get through the times where there are 1,800 things happening, and being that safe zone for your kids and their emotions as they feel through things. And then also for yourself, like taking care of yourself. It comes back to so many of the basics that I always talk about, but that can be so easy to let go of because they don't seem like the top priority or that other things are more urgent. But things like eating real food, having good quality food in your home, that you're eating meals together, basic things, but that really help everything. It helps your mood, helps your digestion, helps your immune system. It helps how you sleep at night. Drinking enough water for you and everyone in your family, getting fresh air, getting sunshine. They're just so helpful. Those little sprinkles then start to matter so much more. The ways that you're taking care of yourself and the ways that are really feeding you, that becomes even more important in times of transition where then there's a lot going on to help ground yourself. And so that really feels like the theme of the season that it's been. And coming back to exactly what I teach. I teach this because I live this. I teach this because these are the things that help me when there's all kinds of things going on that you may never see from social media or may never know unless you're in the close, intimate world. But they're helpful things to talk about and normalize. And how do you walk through a day where there's unpredictability and things that are totally outside your control? And what are the ways that help to kind of manage that and help mitigate that and help build yourself up enough to be able to grow your capacity? I think when you're parenting, especially young kids and probably older kids too, probably teenagers, that probably doesn't stop. So I think learning how to be better caretakers of ourselves and better tenders to our kids and to ourselves, like that, what goes on inside the home. Yes, there's so much outside of our control, but there is so much that's also very much in our control that we can implement and think about if we are intentionally thinking of those things, right? Intentionally thinking of how do we ground ourselves? How do we keep ourselves steady? How do we be sturdy leaders in our homes and in our families and for ourselves? Like it really does start with ourselves. So anyways, I'm sure there's so many things that I'm forgetting, probably missing. I'll probably think as soon as I turn this off of all these other things that have been going on. But I think those have been some really big themes I've been walking through lately and just wanted to share because I feel like they are very common. Sometimes we don't always talk about it, and that there's so many different ways that you can go through seasons like that and so many things you can find out about yourself as you do. So with that, I hope you guys are having a great season of life, no matter what you are walking through, and just knowing that you're not alone. Okay. I love you guys so much. We'll see you back here next time.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.